So I've answered this question on many other videos, but I guess it really deserves its own video since someone asked it again. So I thought I'd hop on and answer it and make it his own video so I can point people to this video when they come and ask this question again, because they will. Question is, did Maryam and Jeshua have children? Did Maryam and Jeshua have children? The concept of them having children is not really something that came into play until people started writing books about the storyline. The big one that really brought this into the mainstream was Dan Brown's book, The Da Vinci Code, the concept of the bloodline of Jeshua continuing on. It also ties into the Judaic messianic belief that Jeshua was of the bloodline of the King David. But there is no reference to them having children. In all of my regression memories, and I mean all of them, they did not have children. And I also have memories of Maryam and Mother Maryam living with John in Galilee after the resurrection. And we'll talk about the resurrection here in a second. And she was not pregnant, but she was devastated when she lived with John. But the concept of the bloodline and children, people will always look for the story, to look for the secret destiny or the fated life, and all of that is based in the concept that Jeshua was a Messiah. All of that is based in this idea that this one particular bloodline is more special than some others. That couldn't be further from what Jeshua taught than anything else. Jeshua didn't believe that anybody's bloodline was better than anybody else's. The idea of this is that Jeshua had to be special and come from the bloodline of David, because the bloodline of David was where the Messiah was supposed to come from in Judaic belief. But there is no proof of that. There is no anywhere is there proof that he came from the line of David. He was a man who understood his divinity and came to it. There is no proof that there was any bloodline after him. And I know there's all kinds of people who will say, well, I found this and I found that and all this stuff. It's not documented anywhere. Now let's talk about the idea of the resurrection, because this ties into this story. My first visual memory was before my regression. I was, this is a story I don't tell very often, but when I was first told about my past life, the third session I had with a psychic, she did a full trance channeling of Jeshua. And I've mentioned this in other videos. First lines were, John of old, John of new, I love you, I've always loved you, and I will always love you. I'm with you, I've always been with you, I always will be with you. And that's where the channel name John of New comes from. And when you hear me mention John of Old, that's where that comes from. It's John of Old, John of New, as the first line said. But that memory came with something else. When I had the visual, I was looking down at the sand, and I could see my hands on the sand in front of me, and I could see sand, pebbles falling from my face, onto the back of my hands. And I looked up, and right in front of me were 2 feet. And I looked up again. It was Jeshua looking down at me, laughing at me. Like saying, what are you doing? What are you doing? And what this was a memory in Galilee months after the crucifixion. And Peter and John were on a boat. And there's a biblical reference to this that is out there, them seeing Jeshua on the shoreline. This is the moment. I literally was on my face in the sand in front of him because I hadn't seen him since I saw him dead. And I'm there, and I raise my face up, and I look at him. He's laughing at me. What are you doing? And so I know he came back. I believe that wholeheartedly. What you believe, That's your choice. For me, him being there on that beach and me having that memory was profound. Later on in regressions, I had that memory again. I had that experience, realizing that that moment was after the crucifixion. In Hinduism, they will tell you that Jeshua was in India prior to his coming back to Israel. They actually call him Sri Isa, and he traveled all over India teaching and all kinds of things. And when you ask them in India what happened to him, they say he went back to his country and was crucified. Now, I truly believe that when John met Jeshua, he was coming back. He was coming back from India. Also in India, there's a story of Jeshua coming back to India after the resurrection and bringing Maryam with him, and him living and dying the rest of his life in India and raising children there. Do I have any proof of that or any memory of that? No. But I like to believe it's true, because I think the man deserved a happier ending in this physical life. But does it matter? Does it matter? You know, time is a linear construct made up by man. Two farmers in a field saw the sun go over and called it a day. Then they said the sun's straight up, let's call that noon, and they broke it down further and further. So time itself is a linear construct. Experience of the past and chosen experiences of your future is all the world really is, right? Past and future, linear construct. Everything's in the now. That to me is why I was able to have a past life regression, because I was able to tap into that experience in the now. I truly believe that Jeshua himself was very much a man who found his divinity, who found his truth, and was teaching us ours. And to say that it's because I come from a special bloodline, or that my bloodline is special, is absolutely negating his work. It's absolutely taking away from everything he taught. And I think it has to come down to coming back to what he said: greater works than I have done, you will do. He's telling you, you are the bloodline. You can bring the kingdom of heaven to earth. He's telling you that you are one with God. The Father and I are one. He wasn't saying he was different. He was saying he understood something that he was showing us. And the concept of did they have children or didn't they have children, it doesn't matter if they did or didn't. It only matters what you are doing with your life. It doesn't matter who anybody was. It only matters who you are. Be in the here and now. Be fearless, be present, and live into love. Live a loving life. And you are living the teachings of Jeshua ben Joseph. But until we start letting go of making people special, and instead of making ourselves special or believing we're special, then we're going to be constantly searching. And when you seek a path will be laid before you. But paths away from yourself always lead off into the wilderness, and you get lost. But when you turn that path back to yourself, you find the doorway. And in that doorway, you find your connection to the oneness of God, which is what Jeshua found. So that's what I want to talk about this video is Jeshua's children. I hope he had them. It's not important either way, because what he taught was about you, not them. So that's my thought on this. You guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. See ya. Bye.